Well boys, it looks like it's that time again. Another video on the Blue Blur. The funny thing is that we got 2 new Sonic titles in just 1 year. With franchises like this, it may seem like the publisher is just milking the property dry with no real thought put into it. However, these 2 games are highly anticipated for good reason. One being a game made by established fans of the Sonic community, and the other being the newest AAA title from our good old folks at Sonic Team. Today we are going to look at both titles and see what each does better to see where the franchise stands as a whole in the modern age. Sonic Mania was not developed by Sonic Team, but instead with a collaboration of fan game developers. These people being Christian Whitehead, Simon Thomley, and Pagoda West Games. The first 2, known as The Taxman and Stealth, have been making Sonic fan games all their life. It ended up remaking Sonic 1 and 2 on mobile phones with extra features. Pagoda West Games apparently was formed from the team who were working on a ground-up remake of Sonic 2 in HD, with original hand-drawn models and animations. With this team, we have one of the best official Sonic games ever made. Where to begin with this game? Well, the graphics, of course. The graphics in Mania are of classic stylization, but are extremely detailed and full of life. It has the limitations of the original games in mind, but uses that to its advantage to make it look like that Saturn Sonic game that we never got. But the game knows you're here for classic gameplay, and in that regard, it delivers what's promised. Mania has 3 playable characters, Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles. Each one of them has their abilities from the old games, like Sonic's Spin Dash, Tails' Flight, and Knuckles' Glide. But Sonic now has a new ability called the Drop Dash. That makes him jump and gain an extra burst of speed pushing him forward. This adds more depth to the game, as compared to the originals, the only way to get speed at standstill was the Spin Dash, which would make you lose your momentum. Speaking of momentum, Mania's level design is built from the ground up to make sure you can keep a consistent movement speed, while giving you tricky but manageable obstacles on your way to the goal. Another positive of the level design, that it also encourages you to explore the level, rewarding you with power-ups, alternate pathways, and the new special stage to get a Chaos Emerald. The special stages in Mania are original, have a solid difficulty, and are exciting to play. Rather than reusing something like the half-pipe, which has been done a million times, it combines elements of older games like CD and even obscure things like Knuckles Chaotix. It's addicting and can get a little hectic when you're chasing the UFO in set stages to get the Emerald, but it's so satisfying when you reach it.
Yes, 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 yes!
This is also one of the most consistent Sonic games because there are never any slow levels or low points. There are 12 zones, each with 2 acts, 4 of them are new, and the other 8 are remixed versions of classic levels. Each zone introduces new mechanics that were not present in the old games. For example, Mania's version of Chemical Plant Zone from Sonic 2 adds these different sorts of goo which you can stick to or get a ton of height by bouncing off of it. Each revisited zone has something like this, and the new zones are amazing! Studiopolis is one of my favorite of those, a sort of casino/Hollywood studio hybrid zone with bright lights, neon colored TVs, and a jazzy tune. I also don't get why people didn't like Press Garden that much. It's like the weirdest and coolest concept to a level. An ancient ruin uses a printing press for Robotnik, then turns into a beautiful snowy Tokyo garden in Act 2. It's so weird and original, but I feel like it works. And the Act 1 music is so damn catchy. It also brings me to one of my personal favorite aspects of Sonic Mania, the soundtrack. Another Sonic fan by the name of T. Lopes was brought in to compose the soundtrack for Mania. And it offers up an incredible soundtrack with sick tunes. Here are just a few of my favorites. One of the best parts of being a Sonic fan playing this was the constant references that I caught with my history with the franchise. It references many different games, whether it be in mechanics, bosses, audio cues, and secrets that you would get only if you stuck with the franchise. This doesn't mean that someone new to the series wouldn't enjoy this, but I got a lot more enjoyment out of the game because of the cheeky references present. There's things like when you go to Chemical Plant Act 2, you start playing Puyo Puyo. The Metal Sonic boss fight has the best remix of Stardust Speedway Bad Future. The Studiopolis Act 2 boss has the existential nightmare sound of the buzzing from the 25th anniversary stream. Murad Saloon has fucking Bean, Bark, and Fang as bosses. There's just so much to love about this game. They even bothered to put in a lot of extra features. Tails is playable with a second controller. Knuckles has his very own campaign that differs. There's a 2-player competitive mode with a Daytona announcer. You can unlock the Bug mode and Knuckles mode, the Super Peel Out, the Insta-Seal, Time Attack mode takes a new form. Blue Spear has so many damn levels, and the ever-important sound test. Stuff like this would be DLC if done by any other established developer, but they added it as unlockable bonuses just for the hell of it. My last praise has to be from the fact that it's clearly a passion project and a victory for the Sonic franchise. It satisfies old fans, creates new ones, and laughs in the face of the naysayers of the series. Even the marketing around it was amazing. The pre-order trailer especially. None of the animation shown here appears in-game, but it's meant to be a pseudo-hype trailer. But then it connects to the opening animation done by Tyson Hess, and it's just so beautiful. The glorious music done by Hyper Potions, the high quality art of each frame, the touches of details, and an understanding of what made Sonic so awesome. If I were to redo my top 8 Sonic intros, this would take number 1, no doubt. It's a freaking masterpiece. The people developing this game and everyone around it had a clear passion for Sonic, and they knew how to focus on one aspect and deliver on that strength. A love letter to the Blue Blur's classic era, and delivers one of the best Sonic games ever. Sonic Forces, on the other hand, is a title that does the exact opposite. Now don't get me wrong, I thought Forces was an okay game, but when all you can say about most Sonic games is that they're mediocre, even in 2017, there's a big problem. Fans and gamers alike expected that, similar to Generations, Forces would focus on classic and modern Sonic and all new levels instead of revisiting old ones. The biggest flaw for Generations was that it had great levels, but they had them reusing old levels and always kept adding a new mechanic each game. What did Sonic Team decide to do for this new release? Make you revisit stages and add another mechanic. Now with this in mind, they were able to create a video game, but there are some problems that should have been addressed. The first and most important thing to not ruin in any video game is the controls. All 3 characters suffer from stiff movement and their jumping feels heavy. As modern Sonic, this isn't noticeable until you are forced into 2D sections and have to jump across platforms slowly and carefully. Rather than feeling instant and controllable, the game feels slow and rigid. Modern Sonic's other problem stems from his weakened moveset and level design. Modern Sonic no longer has a drift, and this ends up with a majority of 3D segments being straight lines with no challenge. The level design takes a major hit from this decision, and in an effort to be cinematic, the game adds QuickTime events. During certain stages, the game takes control away from the player to press a button within a timer while a long scripted animation plays out. They could look epic, but repeated playthroughs of the level bring them down a lot. But while modern Sonic has taken some steps back, he does take a few steps forward with certain levels. Levels such as Egg Gate, Network Terminal, and Border Canyon have very open level designs that encourage repeated playthroughs to do all the different pathways. Classic Sonic is one of the worst aspects of Forces, and has no reason to be in this game. He feels shoehorned in at the last second to satisfy the retro audience, but the game implements him clumsily. He only has 5 levels in the game, but those are the lowest points of the game. The physics of the game are not done well. No one was expecting a pitch-perfect representation of the classic games, but they were also not expecting them to feel slow and have no concept of momentum. There's a section, for example, where you can run down a long slope and appear to be gaining speed just to reach a tiny ramp and not even reach above it. This is certainly no Sonic Mania, and something I don't think anyone saw coming. But since this is the canon of the game, Forces includes the drop dash from Mania, but it doesn't add much to Forces, and the levels aren't built with it in mind. Luckily, the new character added to the game wasn't as bad as I thought it was gonna be. A major selling point of the game is that you get to create your own custom Sonic character. You can choose from different types of animals, clothing, and power-ups.
Ladies and gentlemen, I introduce Sonickick the Hedgehog. Sonic's partner in crime. He has a grappling hook, likes chili dogs, and likes to sing Red Like Roses Part 2 from Ruby alone in his room, and has a crush on Neapolitan. What?
That was a joke.
This system feels fun and deep to experiment with, and can offer a lot of replay value. There are endless customizations to come up with, and the routes you take can depend on what power-up or wisp bonds you choose. The alien creatures, or the wisps from Sonic Colors, make a return as wisp bonds, or weapons that are powered by the wisps, used by your custom hero. This can be a flamethrower that causes mid-air explosions to get to higher areas, lightning wisps you can use to follow a trail of rings, and more that you will unlock as you progress through the game. I found the Avatar character fun to experiment with and customize. I played as a hedgehog for my first playthrough, which allowed me to pick up multiple rings after being hit. After finishing the game, I made a cat who holds on to one ring after getting hit every time. There are several other animals to choose from, such as a bird, dog, bear, wolf, and rabbit. There are also certain levels where you team up side by side with modern Sonic and work together to reach the goal. These are reminiscent of 2003's Sonic Heroes, which had team-based gameplay. These levels can be forgettable. No Space was the only one that struck out due to the multiple pathways and the exciting music used. Speaking of which, the soundtrack for Forces is mostly okay. While classic Sonic tunes have these weird, gimmicky retro feel that is not appealing on the ears, and at points can be considered ear rape. Modern Sonic stages are very string heavy, resulting in unmemorable songs. However, the Avatar stages have very synth heavy vocal tracks that are upbeat and fun to hum. The other biggest letdown for me was the story. Sonic Forces tries to go for a more serious tone than what was present in the past few games. Eggman has taken over 99% of the world and has a new creation named Infinite, who has been wreaking havoc along with him. The game starts off with Sonic being defeated and taken prisoner as Eggman takes over the world. Sonic's friends form a resistance, while Sonic is taken to the Death Egg where they have been torturing him. I think.
None of this is good, Vector. That's why it's called war.
Still love that line. While I am fine with this approach to the story and some of the returning characters, the dialogue can either be taking itself way too seriously, or just plain stupid. Especially during the final moments of the game. The new villain, Infinite, is one of the most underwhelming villains the series has ever seen. This is coming from a post-Sonic Lost World game, where the main villains were 6 literal stereotypes. Infinite has an extremely lame motivation and leaves the game without having any effect. He was hyped up by marketing for the past few months with a new song by rock band Danger Kids that ends up trying way too hard to be evil. I mean, just imagine if someone else in real life had a backstory like this.
Browsing the internet, browsing the internet. Who's this Nitro Rat guy? He had a video on Bubsy 3D? Let's check it out! Literally, everything about this game sucks. The graphics hardly exist, the sound effects and music are grating, the controls are barely usable, the game's way too difficult because of it, Bubsy's annoying as hell, and your reward for all of your pain and suffering is a big fat middle finger of an ending.
Why would he say something like that? This fucking asshole. I'm gonna get him. You really pissed me off this time, Nitro Rad. That'll teach him.
Yo, Sonickick, you suck. And Sonic Adventure sucks too.
Sucks dick.
I suck? No way. Sonic Adventure sucks? No. I would not let it be like that. He's lying. He really pisses me off. I don't suck. This time, I have to bring out the powers of the Stone of Chaos.
Nitro, I have come for you for the last time. PUBG 3D is a good game. I will bring you pain, suffering. My name is Limitless. Remember it in the little time that you have.
Get out of here.
Holy shit, they brought back Shadow and Chaos? Finally, we're gonna fight them again! Oh wait, they just got hidden different cutscenes, and since we had 1 year of dev time, we only get to fight fucking Zavok the Blandoff and Metal Sonic again. Hope you didn't see those trailers and think that just cause these four showed up on the villain side means that you would get to fight them. Or see them do anything. At all. Man, after all this time, I can't wait to play as Super Sonic again in a modern game! Oh, he has to be patched in. And it's December 14th and he's still not in the game. And since this is a Kishimoto directed game, the final boss is Eggman for the third time. Again, reusing the Colors fight. Again. Overall, it's a story that had wasted potential and what was presented was silly even for the Sonic series. Sonic Forces was a game that was only 4 hours long, but left me with a lot of aspects to talk about during that time period. It was great in concept, but poor in execution. I did enjoy certain aspects of it and wouldn't call it a bad game. However, I still would recommend it at a $10 or $20 price drop, just for some of the fun gameplay and silly story. Sonic Team has it in them to make another really great Sonic game, but there is some restructuring and build-up that needs to be done to reach that goal. For now, what was supposed to be Sonic's big return from the 4-year gap of Lost World ended in another mediocre game for the team. That doesn't make me angry, but it still makes me sad. And in all honesty, I didn't want it to be another mediocre experience, because they can make that 10 out of 10 game. I wanted to get 2 badass Sonic titles to play this year. This year alone, I spent over $100 on just Sonic games. I like this hedgehog enough with this reckless spending, and I want others to enjoy him too. But it's so difficult to get people in the series, mostly because Sega just keeps rushing out every single game, or just plays it safe. I want Sonic Team to take a break from this series. They really need it. And I honestly hate to be in Izuka's position. Imagine putting 4 years of your life to make a comeback just to have it blow up in your face. But since the Sonic movie is coming out, they are probably going to go back to work on it again. Emotionally drained even more this time. And what did that lead to? Yeah, the series doesn't need anything like that now. It needs passion and a better direction. But we can look on the bright side. Mania did so well that I think that the Mania team may be sticking around for a while. We can possibly have another game of this caliber soon. But for Sonic Team, maybe next time. Hopefully we see that next time later, rather than sooner.